Welcome to the Real Talk Farm Stress podcast from Penn State Extension. My name's Sonya Nace, and I'm an extension educator. I'm based in the central Pennsylvania region, and I am excited to have with me today Brett Reinford, who is not only a farmer, but also a neighbor. And Brett is a partner with his two brothers. He's part of a second generation farm that was started by his parents in 1991. Brett, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, good morning, Sonia. Yes, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, a little bit about our podcast is we talk to people who have experience on farms or in agriculture about the stressors and maybe how um, you find ways to cope through some of these stressful situations that arise for the very specific job of working on a farm and in agriculture. What sort of stressors do you see in your farm? And maybe you could tell us a little bit about the type of farm that you have.
Yeah, so I'll start with the type of farm that we have. So we're a dairy farm, around 750 cows, in central Pennsylvania. My parents started the farm in 1991, and in the last 2 years we had transitioned the farm to my two brothers and I, from my mom and dad. So whole nother stressor involved in that scenario as well, but we made it through it, and we're doing fine at this point. So yeah, as far as stressors that we see on our farm and just about any farm. I don't think you can talk about farming without talking about the financials. There's always there seems to be always a stressor on the financial side. Farming is generally a low margin business to be in. You kind of do it because that's where you want to raise your family, and it's a way of life. And on a year like this year, speaking of the milk prices, it's a down year, and so you're always wondering how you're going to pay your bills potentially. And so that's a stressor that we see. I mean, my role in the farm is I am in the office, and finance is one of the things that I do here on my farm. I think what I th- I was thinking about what makes farming stressful, and I don't say it as a bad way, I guess, that farming is stressful, but what makes it stressful is somewhat the unknown, and a lot of stuff that you do is out of your control. So talking about weather, talking about markets going up and down, talking about accidents or incidents that could or may have happened. Those are all stressors that I see from a dairy's perspective, here on our farm. I should share this story, because my wife is always like, well, "Why are you so stressed?" And I guess I wear it on my sleeve so she can tell when I'm stressed or not. And I don't feel like I'm stressed that much. I kind of have a more carefree spirit. But I went to the chiropractor, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and they did a stress test on me, and my numbers were off the charts. So apparently I was stressed, at that time anyway, or maybe that's just, maybe I just bottle up all my stress and try not to show it. But the chiropractor called me out on that and said, "Hey, you got to do something to relieve some of the stress."
It took outside forces to help you recognize that there was
Yeah.
some stress for you, really?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm not sure how much stress that other people feel versus what I feel, and we all handle stress, differently as well. I get a migraine. That's my way of dealing with stress, and I haven't had many migraines in the last couple of years, so I must be handling it a little better than in past situations. I got the most migraines when I was in college. I don't know, writing papers or just doing schoolwork stressed me out, but
Right.
yeah. So yeah, certainly the chiropractor had brought to light the type of stress that I was apparently carrying through
Mhm.
some tests that they were doing.
So there are like physical symptoms of stress,
Oh,
and
for
so
sure.
that
Yeah.
seems like maybe what you might have been experiencing. So are there things that you do now to help yourself whenever you are in the midst of a stressful situation? So like certain coping skills
Yeah.
or
I'd
other
say,
strategies?
one of my it's not always possible. Maybe that's what makes it stressful, but one of my favorite things to do, especially with my young family, is just get away from the farm. So, fortunately, with my two brothers being here and 26 other wonderful employees, it allows me the opportunity to step away for a week or a day or an afternoon, when things are somewhat stressful. So, I'm obviously not here milking cows all the time, which is, a 24/7 thing where you can't sometimes get away. But for us, I've been afforded the opportunity to be able to take the time off. So that's I live across the road from the farm, so I always see what's going on at the farm from my vantage point a couple hundred yards away. But to be able to remove yourself completely from out of sight, out of mind, essentially,
Hmm.
is how it works. So that's one of my favorite ways of coping with some undue stress.
Right. So you mentioned that you have quite a few farm workers, agricultural workers that are working on the farm with you. Do you ever notice signs of stress? What what happens whenever someone that works with you is experiencing a stressful situation or a certain type of time at the farm whenever there is a higher stress level?
Yeah. So I mean, I think emotions run higher when people are more stressed. So I think that's easy to identify, at least on our farm, and some of that comes with the seasons. When we're in crop season, and when we just have a busy project that we're working on. Um, you could say that the stress levels at the farm are a little bit higher, and so just recognizing recognizing that, and how you speak with people and how you speak with employees on the farm, knowing that things are stressful matters. And so um you know I'm when people like me, like when people or farm workers ask to have off, it's usually a yes. I mean, so people need their time to get away for various reasons. And so um that's one way that I think is a good way to deal with it. Obviously, we like to talk through issues to see what is stressful, and try to identify them, and deal with them. So it's trying to keep that communication, and just noticing, just understanding what we're asking our employees to do, and what's realistic and what's not. And so just try to be sensitive to that.
That makes sense. Do you have other types of support circles for you or the people that work with you
So
in the community?
yeah, so I mean, that's a good question. So I don't besides my wife, who we like to talk about our day from both of our perspectives, usually every evening if I'm around. And I that's one way to talk about the day, and to really handle stress that way, through kind of talking through it. Um, as far as support circles, that there's nothing like specific that pops out to me, that any groups or anything that I'm a part of, or any of our employees that are a part of. But Yeah, I mean, certainly if someone were to approach me here at the farm, we would try to find that support. And I know that's out there through some of the programs that I think Extension has, and the Center for Dairy Excellence. And so knowing that there is support programs out there for people that need it is also good to know, and how to get in contact with those folks is something that I'm aware of, and how to do.
Right. And we often talk about in our podcast the use of 988 as a number to call in case someone is experiencing a mental health challenge or a
Mhm.
crisis, to get additional support and resources. Especially, it's very specific for an area, a location. So there could be places that maybe someone has never heard of, to lean upon for support in times of crisis or challenge.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of the farming magazines that I like to read, or that show up in the mail, they all have there's a lot of those support mechanisms, that if a farmer is experiencing stress, they can certainly call, and um, talk through whatever's going on their farms and in their lives.
Yeah, and the great thing is it's not just presented in English. It also there's other languages that can be accessed as well, so someone can feel more comfortable even talking in their home language.
Hmm. I didn't know
Yeah,
that. That's something I learned. That's
there
good.
you go. That's great, and that's the whole reason that we talk about things, so more and more people can learn about them and share them with others. So great. I'm glad to
Yeah.
help today.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. So, do you have are there any things that you do at the farm with everyone who works there that might be very specific maybe to your farm, but might help alleviate stress besides the talking and working through things and the stressful times?
Yeah. And, I guess where I'd go with that. So, stress can come from different areas, right? So not only your job that you're doing here, but also your personal life as well.
Hmm.
And so just kind of being aware that life is more about um, just dairy farming and understanding that people have lives outside of work, and that sometimes things aren't always peachy, I guess, in their personal lives.
And because sometimes your personal life will boil over into your work life, no matter whether you're the owner of the farm working with your brothers or you're the person coming to milk the cows at midnight, right?
Right.
And those stressors really can make an impact. So it's great that you have open conversation with everyone who works with you on your farm. Having that open conversation really helps to help people feel supported. And that's
Hmm.
really a lot of about mental health wellness
Yeah.
is knowing that there's support there, whether it's from the person that you work for the farm from the farm or from another resource in the community. There are lots of ways for people to get the resources, like using 988. We also tell people a lot to use the 211 service. So that's actually a service that would give people information about housing or utilities, all sorts of things that they might also need in their personal lives
Hmm.
to help relieve some of those stressors. So whenever they come to work, they might be able to say, "Whew, I got some things covered,"
Yeah.
and I can put my mind to working with the machinery, or I can pay attention to all the cows coming
Right.
through at midnight to get
Right.
milked. So we know that many farm families are a group of families working together on a farm. Do you have any advice for other families who are working together and also may experience the times of stress, whether it be weather related, equipment related, financial, anything that works for your farm families?
Sure. So, that's a good question. So, again, I'm a partner with my two brothers and I think historically, and maybe this is for some or most farm families, communication isn't always the best. And so, what we had started doing here, I guess about a year ago, so after our partnership started, and then we waited a year, we started doing a monthly meeting, between the three of us and our office manager, that kind of set the agenda and forced us to talk about what was going on in each of our departments that we handle here on the farm. And so yeah, so that is, I think that's been a good step in the right directions to having a healthy farm family partnership.
Do you pre-schedule, like on a
Yep.
Tuesday, first
Se-
Tuesday of the month?
Second
That's
Tuesday of every
Oh,
month.
I'm sorry. Okay, second Tuesday of the month.
8
Like,
a.m.
really?
Clear schedule.
Wow, that's
So
great.
yeah, so that's been good, and our office manager takes notes and keeps us, gives us some things to work on, or that we talked about in that meeting that we should accomplish before the next meeting, so that we can give an update on that. And so that's been super helpful. Probably the biggest and most helpful thing that we've done. And it's great that our office manager does the facilitating of that, just because it's not really my skill set to be able to do that. Neither is it my two brothers. So it just kind of helps to have the right people in the right room to
Mhm.
let things flow correctly.
That's actually a really great idea. And I think even smaller family farms might be able to utilize the planned meeting to communicate concerns, needs, to-do lists, probably. I'm imagining all the
Yeah.
things that you all must
Yep.
talk about.
That's what it essentially is. It's to-do lists, and what are we all working on, because our farm isn't that big, but we don't always know. So
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a great strategy to use, and hopefully that helps your brotherly relationships as well. So
For
maybe
sure. Yeah.
family dinners look,
Yeah.
nice
No,
and happy.
we still do holidays together, so that's
Good.
good.
That's awesome. That's great news,
Is
Brett.
that the sign of healthy
I think
partnership?
I think that's really great that you're able to continue all those things that you want to do for your families
Sure.
and still work together in a really high stress environment, like farming.
Yes, agreed.
Well, I want to just say thank you so much for joining us today and giving us some real perspective on a family farm and ideas that really that communication is the key
Yeah,
to talking with people that work for you, talking to your partners, talking to the family, talking to your loved ones, and even maybe your
yep.
medical practitioners whenever you need to. So, thanks, Brett, so much for joining me, and I hope to talk with you soon.
Of course. Thank you so much, Sonia, for having me on.